Hello there. I am so glad that you're here. I had not planned on doing a show tonight, and then I thought I kind of have to do a show tonight because I have been spending a lot of time on Three Eye Atlas because I think it's really an interesting thing, and I'm actually fascinated by it. I've been following this for several weeks, like a lot of people have, and I I'm very excited. I have a Dobsonian telescope, a big one, and I'm really excited that I'm going to have a chance to be able to see this for myself soon. It's going to be in range. I tried, but I was getting so much light from full moons and everything else that was blowing it out, and I'm not a genius with that yet. It's kind of new to me, so I'll get there. But because I wanted to talk about this, and because I figure y'all are probably tired of people having monologues and just going on about the weather and stuff, I decided that because she doesn't get nearly enough airtime on my network, that I would bring my best friend and co-paranormal investigator who is a methodical researcher who knows nothing about this comet except what she has heard me, go off about. I'm going to lower that a little bit. I look kind of like I'm whoa. But anyway, so Lori Dorsey is she's very analytical, but she's mainly going to be listening to me rant a little bit, maybe. I don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. We never know what's going to happen. So, hello there. I
Hello.
interrupt. I interrupted your television viewing tonight, didn't I? I'm
That's okay.
sorry.
Paranormal content. That's okay.
Yeah. Well, you can't have seen them all, or Jack, your grandson, is going to be disappointed when you're not sharing a new experience together. So,
That
I'm just thinking
that's
of Jack
true.
right now.
Yeah.
Just thinking of Jack. But,
Yes.
you know, this is something I know that you've been kind of aware that I'm having the best time with this, right? And
Yeah.
so
Oh yes.
I love space anomalies. I really do. I love
Mhm.
paranormal anomalies. And, as evidenced by, my friend back here. But I'm really very interested in this because we have seen no, we've seen nothing as far as interstellar objects for as long, and we've had men on the moon, we've had satellites up there, we've had spyware up there, we've had um, things that are looking for the death asteroids, right? And
Hmm.
trying to develop ways to not have them show up, and
Right.
or how to deal with them if they do. We have had astronauts who have come forward and discussed seeing craft while they were on their missions. And it's pretty clear that there's stuff out there, whether this would be it or not. Would you go with that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean,
I.
because we had an experience where you were actually kind of stalked. You were by yourself
Yep.
between groups of
Hmm.
people, and somebody was walking behind you.
Yes.
Actually, you were not between groups of people. The people had gone past you, and I was still up on that hill and saw you walking by yourself and thought, oh, that's not good. And,
Right.
you know, came down not knowing
And
I
then
was probably,
Christine. Yeah.
yeah,
And Christine took that picture, and you
mm-hmm,
noticed it. I didn't.
yeah.
You noticed the craft that was in the picture that was
Yeah.
pretty close to where I was at.
And it was really
And
big too.
yeah, yeah,
I felt like it was big.
very-
I
yeah,
mean, it was tall.
it was rather, yeah, it was rather alarming, really. After you pointed it out, I kind of, oh my. And I was standing there by myself, just aggravated because I couldn't get the SLS to stay on. It
Yeah.
just kept shutting off.
Maybe that
And
was a warning system.
That could have been. I don't know, but I was so aggravated. That's the reason why I left, because I couldn't get it to work. So, and then you, I mean, rushed up there. I'm glad you did. Who would have known what could have happened?
Well, well, and it was really weird because I'm intuitive and
Mm-hmm.
we're pretty well bonded, right?
Mm.
So
Yes.
I just felt like you did not need to be by yourself there.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I didn't have to run from the midges. They weren't eating me, poor Mikey. But it
Yeah.
was a real get down there moment, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that if you're going to have an introduction to ufology, that would be it, right?
Yes.
Beam me up was what was almost happening. So I'm pretty sure
It
of that
seemed like
anyway.
it.
And we were actually very close to Metro Edinburgh because Falkirk is right
Yeah.
outside of Edinburgh. And so
Yeah.
it surprised me because we were basically urban, where we were. We were off the
Mm-hmm.
beaten path because we were, at a castle that we were supposed to have stayed in. Nobody minds
Right.
not getting to sleep in there when you've paid for that. But anyway, it was, but, should never have a mysterious adventure because they often will suck you right into their mysteries. But like, where did they go? But
Mm-hmm.
it was so, didn't you like how I did that? But
I
it's so
like that.
funny. But thank you. But it really is so bizarre because you're the most feet on the ground, methodical, sometimes annoying for somebody like me, and I'm very annoying for somebody like you, and yet we still make it work, right? Great friendship.
Yeah.
But we are very different people.
Oh yeah.
And this is and I know that I feel like you've probably been surprised sometimes by the focus that I give to ufology because one of the very first, in fact, it may be the very first event that I was credentialed for. I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't doing fate, I was just paranormal experienced. And I applied for credentials to the very first Alien Con
Right.
and got them. I mean,
Mm.
oh my God, I'm going to California. Oh my God, I'm going to meet all these people and I don't have any idea what to do. So, you know, because David really likes the Ancient Aliens program.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
And I do too,
Mm-hmm.
but he is the big fan. And it was very nifty that we got to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and he found a place to play poker, so it was heaven for him. But when I started talking, because they have these conventions have always have experiencers, right? They
Mm-hmm.
didn't with Alien Con at first. And I had talked to Kevin Burns, the guy that created it,
Mm-hmm.
that owned that production company. He was the nicest man. But it was really so educational because it was right outside of San Francisco. There was a lot, or San Jose, there was a lot of people in costume here or there, whatever, but
Okay.
not really very much because people had come there to learn about it.
Mm-hmm.
And while I don't really think that a lot of them brought a history in ufology per se
Mm-hmm.
to this, they have since they've been on for years now, decades almost,
Mm-hmm.
almost two. No, right about 10,
I
10
gotta
or
say,
11.
right around 10 years. Yeah.
Yeah, because I've done this show for 10 years and I went as this show. But anyway, so they were they were presenting things. They were very, you know, it was supposed to be much more small and intimate. They expected maybe 3,000 people. They got like 9 or 10.
Wow.
And so it was crazy.
Yeah.
That would be like having 10,000 people at the Arkansas one that you went to.
Yeah.
That would be a big crowd for that space.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what it was.
Okay.
And so, you know, I'm listening to people. I really enjoy and still enjoy when I get a chance to talk to her, Linda Moulton Howe. She is very cut and dry. I mean, what she does has an element of woo, but she's an award-winning investigative reporter, not just on this topic. So to be able to listen to and learn from her for those first few events when, you know,
right.
After that one, so I decided that I would rather start looking at some other ones, not because I don't like Ancient Aliens, but because there's so many out there.
Right.
You know, and I went to the second and third ones, and the one that they had in Pasadena was a lot of fun because that's when Travis Taylor had joined the show and was, you know, participating and stuff. And he talked a lot about the aerodynamics and the propulsion systems that you would need to be able to do this type of thing. And so that's when I started thinking about how they have to move, right? And how they actually move. I've seen them. I didn't always know that's what I was seeing. But hey Joey, it's nice to see you there. But it was so it was interesting. And that was where I pissed him off the first time. And you know, that's an old story. And he seems to have gotten over it to a degree. And we're thank you. Victor Schamberger invented the propulsion system. So there you go. But you know, I've talked to engineers. I'm a member of the Scientific Coalition on UAP Studies, and I get exposed to a lot of the science doing that. And I just have to give a huge shout out to them for bringing somebody like me into their group, because it was really an honor. I mean, I've been media there for some time now, but because of my interest in the topic and my research in the topic, you know, that's why it was suggested that I submit an application. So I was like, why, yes, I will. But, you know, I've been to like the several years of that annual meeting, and I've learned so very much. I think that one of the things that amazes me, not everybody is very inclusive. This group is really made up of a lot of rocket scientists and amazing engineers, and they work in fields that boggle my mind. My husband's all about it, but you know, I'm just kind of like, okay, but they're there to educate and to help each other understand how something can happen. You know, I know that you've heard me interview Lala Bright and Bob McGuire, and I met them through that program, through that organization. That's where you know, Travis is also a member of that. Mark D'Antonio is a founding member of that group. And so a lot of my friends you know,
Yeah.
are involved in that, and they know that I've worked very hard to learn this stuff. I think that for experiencers, it it's not really the that cup of tea. They're looking for the logistics and the mechanics and
Hmm.
what's going where with all of this stuff. And Contact in the Desert, um, the UFO Congress that I went to in Phoenix that time,
Hmm.
the you know, so many of these are experiencer based. That's the UFO Congress is where I met Calvin Parker, the man that was in outside of Biloxi, Mississippi, in Pascagoula, and I
Hmm.
think his case was called the Pascagoula Incident. But his experience, and I swear to goodness, I don't always assume that somebody is telling me the truth.
Right.
I just don't. But I knew that that man was, because the 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 occupants of that craft, they kind of look like the Michelin Man,
Hmm.
okay, with claw hands. And when I was hearing this, because I heard him speak first, and then because he and his wife were the only people there that sound like me, we had a lot of meals together. Okay. So, and I loved him. I love his wife, you know, good people. And he's passed away fairly recently, but good people, great people.
Hmm.
And so it was when I learned that people don't have just little green men show up, like Al, you
Hmm.
know, there's um, there's so many different, I don't know that species would be the right term, because like the people in Scotland are not a different species from us,
Right.
although the mindset may be, but there's that. But it's not a species, it's a region or nationality. And I think probably there's, just because they look different doesn't mean that they are all that different.
Hmm.
So I, when I was listening to the presentation today, I've really been following this because I like Avi Loeb. I think that he really is a brilliant scientist. He's
Hmm.
not somebody that's a lightweight in his field. I mean, he created the Galileo project. He's his CV reads like, you know,
Hmm.
just amazing things. And, he is at Harvard, so he's no slack there either. And when I was reading today on Facebook, and that's the reason I did this show, I wasn't going to do a show tonight. I was going to do a rerun because I recorded my show Sunday. I don't know if it went live or not, but it's recorded. So, yeah, I was going to run that. And I just like, you know what? I'm seeing this man who just happens to come out and say something different, um, slammed all over Facebook like he is some imbecile. And I was just like, that's not cool. You
Hmm.
know, that's just not cool. So I went online, and I just thought, you know what? I am absolutely not thrilled with this. And he deserves much better statements than, you know, what I'm seeing.
Hmm.
And, I've seen him in a lot of different scenarios.
Hmm.
And I've seen a lot of people talking about him. Um, and I thought, you know what? This is a guy that people have really put on a pedestal for years and years and years. And he's smart. He's not an idiot.
Yeah.
He is interested and interesting. Yeah, the man had his PhD at 24. My dad took 10 years to write his dissertation to get his PhD. You know, he 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 is he led the first international project supported by Strategic Defense Initiative. So somebody trusts him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was a long-term member of the Institute for Advanced Study at Princeton. He's written 9 books. You know, over 1,000 scientific papers.
Mm-hmm.
He's the director of the Institute for Theory and Computation. And he's done that for almost 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's within the Harvard Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics. He's the head of the Galileo Project. He's been the longest serving chair of Harvard's Department of Astronomy. He is the founding director of their Black Hole Initiative. He's an elected fellow of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences, the American Physical Society, and International Academy of Astronautics. And he's a former member of the President's Council of Advisors on Science and Technology. So, you know, he's a former chair of the Board on Physics and Astronomy of the National Academies. He's a current member of the advisory board for Einstein Visualize the Impossible at the Hebrew University. He chaired the advisory committee for the Breakthrough Starshot Initiative and served as science theory director for all initiatives of the Breakthrough Prize Foundation. And the guy may have a little something to add to this conversation, right?
Yeah.
You know, his latest TED Talk was among the 10 most popular TED Talks of 2024. I get blown away when I read a CV like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's participated with textbooks. He's, you know, how did the first stars and galaxies form? The first galaxies in the universe, life in the cosmos, from biosignatures to technosignatures. I mean, this is who I was watching get slammed all over Facebook today, all over everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was just like, no, you know, just no. This isn't make believe. None of this is make believe.
Mm-hmm.
This comet, you know, and we have to talk about the NASA representatives. I just, you know.
Well, like I said, told you before.
I know.
When it comes to cover-ups, they're really good at that. And anybody that disagrees with them, they slam them all over the place.
Quickly.
Very, very quickly.
And
yeah.
You know, it's very annoying.
Yes.
Very annoying. Because, you know, I could understand if somebody came at me and said, why are you doing a show on this? You don't know squat. You don't have you don't have this degree. You don't have that degree. Yeah. And every time I talk about this, I'm like, I'm a radio show host.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not an astrophysicist. I'm not a rocket scientist. I don't design propulsion systems. I understand when something is being bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
And I also have a really great BS meter.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's one of the joys of having the skill set I do have.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know.
Well, you just sit back and watch. And you sit back and you watch and you see the ones that lose their minds and who's paying their paycheck.
Bingo.
So, yeah. Who
stands to lose face if we have something that's real out there and they didn't know it.
Mm-hmm. Always step back and follow the money. What's happening? Why is one person threatening all these other people. So yeah, it's the same old that they always do, you know. So you
But
have
it
to
doesn't make it easier to swallow.
no, but you have to do your own research. You have to be an independent thinker. You can't go with whatever's thrown at you. You have to dig. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the one thing I've learned through the years. You have to dig. You have to check
Yeah.
other sources other than what they're throwing at you, saying, now look here, but don't look over there type
Yeah.
thing. And
The
you have,
shiny object.
yeah, you just have to. And even though it can be a pain, that's the only way you really learn what's happening. I mean,
And that's
seriously.
what gets me in trouble sometimes.
Well, we both.
Well, it's really interesting because Fate Magazine, which I'm a representative for, I'm the host of their radio show too.
Right.
And I'm very proud of that. But Fate Magazine has been in publication since, I would say 1947. I think it was 1946, but the original first cover was Kenneth Arnold's story where he saw the flying saucers. That's why they're called saucers, because he said that they look like saucers.
Right.
Um, but you know, there's been a lot of stuff. Fate gets a reputation sometimes for being kind of woo, but there's a lot of stuff in there that's not.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, well, in this instance, I have to do it. This is the brand new issue of Fate. It just came out. And by the way, it's all color and you can get your own. But it does cover a lot of stuff. And my
Mm-hmm.
kingdom for my glasses. Here we go. But I don't even know.
Well, the thing that's interesting with that edition is Tony Rathman.
Yes, I know. And he's coming out in December.
Yay.
But I'm so glad I booked that one I did because he is slamming and jamming.
Mm-hmm.
But this has UFOs, a realistic assessment, and then space mystery in Russia. And the rest of it really is not based on that. I do like that there is a article on Easter Island in here too.
Oh,
I
okay.
love Easter Island. I got to see, they have at one of the museums in New York, they have a one of the heads.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's a real one of the heads from Easter
Mm-hmm.
Island, but I walked around the corner and was really wowed by it. And then it just completely lost its place because when I walked around the next corner, it was Story Night. Van Gogh's Story Night was on display right there in front of God and everybody. And I was just like, so big tears because it was like a dream come true to see it.
Oh,
The
yeah.
book that I have in my hand, that is Fate Magazine. And the cover story was written by Stevie Tombstone. And it's about skinwalkers. And I find that very interesting. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. Skinwalkers and Skinwalker Ranch are two different things.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
Skinwalker Ranch back in the day, I think did have these because I read a book many moons ago written by a young man named Ryan Skinner. And I don't even know him. I'm assuming he's still out there. I see his name every so often. But I read his book that he wrote about that when he was an adolescent and used to sneak onto the property because he had heard that there was weird stuff there. And he
Didn't he get the,
almost
I was going to say, didn't he get the almost scared out of the jeebers out of him?
a couple of times, in fact, because he was trespassing. And
Mm-hmm.
hey, Tom McNicholas, but we're talking about skinwalkers right now, Tom, but in Skinwalker Ranch. But when Ryan Skinner wrote that book and I was reading it, I was like, what were you thinking? Oh my
Yeah.
God. because honest to goodness, the house that the people there lived in, I thought it was hyperbole, but apparently it's true that they had closets that locked from the inside. They would lock themselves in when it got too weird
Mm-hmm.
inside their house. They would go into seek shelter.
Yeah.
But he actually recounted in his book several times of being, you know, he would leave his little, he started when he was just driving a mini bike and then he moved on to a truck. And when, he would get chased and by something.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, whatever. Right. It's a
Mm-hmm.
good, scary book, but which I don't really like. So I really was trying to learn about this. But yeah. Um, I found him at some point. Facebook started because this was before Facebook. Facebook started, and I found him on Facebook. And I was like, "Are you who wrote that book?" And he
Mm-hmm.
was like, "I am." I said, "Was that real?" He was like, "It was. I don't do that anymore." I was like, "Oh, they must have gotten too close at one point." But this was a young man that grew up basically just down the road. So,
Mm-hmm.
hi, Joey. It is right. Have you been there, Joey? Joey said he's familiar with Skinwalker Ranch,
Oh,
so
okay.
I'm curious as to whether he's been. But I think that there are things that we don't know about.
Mm-hmm.
There are things that we can't understand, right?
Yeah. Especially
You know,
there.
especially there. And it's interesting because I have a strong Native American heritage,
Mm-hmm.
and there's people that I've met, the Navajo Rangers that have, you know, been on the program, and I've met the ranch manager who was just the nicest man. But it's really an interesting concept to think that there's something of that nature happening just out in the world because,
Mm-hmm.
do I think that it's going to be an alien craft, maybe alien technology,
Yeah.
but that property is so wild that there I would feel like there's a lot more than just aliens involved with that. I don't know what would have brought all of these, this conglomeration of things there.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you think? Do you think that it's possible that sometimes places are just,
Magnets sometimes.
yeah,
Um, I do. I think too, like I said, I need to study more, but I don't. I haven't dug. But I think ley lines have a
mm-hmm,
lot to do with it. But with that Skinwalker Ranch, since they've been doing that, they've gotten away from the shapeshifters and have basically, like zoned in on,
yeah,
there's something under the rocks in there,
the mesa,
the mesa. There's something down there, and they're trying to figure out what it is, and they keep running into things, and it's why would there be this type of material that's under there, and then they catch like UAPs flying out of the mesa and flying into the mesa, and this triangle they keep seeing something like it's almost to me this from watching it it's like a portal. It's like it's it's an opening that you can't always see. They light it up and sometimes you can see it, but to me it's, which the Native Americans said it's a sacred place. Well, if it's a portal, hello, why wouldn't it be
yeah,
sacred? I mean, if life can go in and out of it, it's there and then it's not there. It's just like the way I look at Bigfoot. They're there and then they're not. It's like they're inter, beings that can flash in and out. Is there an explanation? No. You just have to either believe it or you don't believe it, or you go out there and experience it yourself. But I don't think I'd
Would
want.
prefer not to.
Yeah, you know.
And that's now, I can't really say that. Okay. Because if somebody called me and said, all right, Kat,
It's your time.
it's your turn. If it was Jim Morris, the manager, I would do that
Hmm.
because I feel like he's very, yeah, matter of fact, just do this, just do that. And I would
Hmm.
trust him.
Right.
Um, would I stay out there? I might. If I had walls. If I had walls, I would stay out there.
Yeah. You're not a camper.
I am not a camper. My idea of roughing it is in the lobby of a Holiday Inn. But and you know that's right. But I just feel like I do feel like it's maybe a perfect storm scenario
Hmm.
because there's been so much reporting and there's been so much. I mean, before the ancient alien guys were brought in, before
Hmm.
it was made into this production, before the history of this property
Hmm.
is Tom's with me on that. But Tom is a man after my own heart. But the history of that property as I know it, and I have known since, back when God was a child,
Hmm.
it's really, I think it's a real deal.
Oh
I
yeah.
think that the anomalies there are an absolute certainty. I
Hmm.
don't do I think that some of the stuff that they're doing now is maybe a little over the top for the environment they're in.
Hmm.
Maybe. People give Travis crap about the rockets all the time. You know,
Yeah.
but he's a rocket scientist,
Hmm.
right? And he likes rockets.
Yes.
And they do the black helicopters are coming because he's shooting the rockets because there's a military base on the
I'm
other
going to
side
say
of
this
that.
very
They're
based
going
on.
to come if you're shooting something in the air. But really,
Yeah.
that's not a shock. Even I know that. I've never been in the military, but I
Yeah.
do love a lot of military people.
Yeah.
But it's just kind
I,
of a
I,
bizarre
right. I
thing.
understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to
Yeah, I mean, and they're
scientifically,
accomplishing goals.
yeah, they're trying to scientifically document everything that they keep finding, and they keep coming up with new equipment, and they keep trying to document things and trying to figure things out scientifically.
Mhm.
But as the Native Americans say, that place is like holy ground. I mean, it's um, you know, it's not normal. I mean,
It's not
it's
normal.
no. And I understand what they're trying to do. I get it. They're trying to document what, because rockets bounce off, they go up in the middle of that
Empty field.
triangle and it just bounces off. And then
Yeah.
you can see a shadow of like an opening. And then they've used LiDAR and it just, everything just goes crazy. But that just reinforces that place is not normal.
Well,
And
it's not.
the Native Americans have said it for hundreds of years that this
Yes.
place is not normal.
Yes.
There was shapeshifters in there, and there's things come up out of the ground,
Yes.
and it's like they all. I understand what Skinwalker's doing. I understand it. They're trying
Well,
to
I
document,
do. And
and
it's
I
not,
get
well, you and I both know that trying to document anomalous things is difficult.
yes,
I
yes,
mean, even if you're using equipment
mm-hmm,
that is geared toward that, there's always going to be a question
mm-hmm,
of maybe not in our minds because we had the experience, But when we're trying to present evidence to someone else, then,
Mm,
you know, oh, well, that SLS doesn't do that. Or,
yeah.
which is why, as a rule, I do straight voice recording. I do not use devices anymore.
Hmm.
And I get EVPs on a voice recording. I
Hmm.
don't have to use an SB7 or something like that.
Right.
But I hear it with the SB7 when it's happening, so I know to ask another question. If
Mm,
I'm doing it just with a voice recorder, I have to stop and go back every time. And I
mm.
don't have the one that Ryan has, which would be great for that. But
Oh
there
yeah.
you go. I'm not spending $1,000 on a voice recorder that's broken. So,
Well, that's the reason why Shelley she uses the live listen, her
mhm,
record live listen, and then she can,
yeah,
you know. And I haven't got one of those either. So
yeah. Well,
um,
it's not a bad thing.
no, she swears by it because she can
Yeah,
listen and answer directly, or say, okay, did somebody just say that? And if they didn't, then she knows she's caught something because
right.
she heard it on the
Well,
record.
that's why I love her portal so much.
Hmm.
I mean, that portal is fantastic, and people give Steve Huff hell all the time, but that is a good design for a piece
Hmm.
of equipment. And Shelley bought the plans and built it herself, so she knows
Yeah.
what's in it.
Oh yeah.
We have a couple of questions,
Oh okay.
and I wanted to go ahead because I wanted to put this comment in right quick. Joey said that the ancient indigenous people spoke of star people, and
Mhm.
he says you even see it in a handful of religions, like, for example, the Mormons say that Moroni, did I say that right? Their God was from the Pleiades star cluster.
Mm.
I think that there's a lot that comes out of the Pleiades,
Hmm.
quite honestly. I
Hmm.
mean, that is what I'm drawn to. So, and I am, Jimmy Buffett did a song back in the day, may you rest in peace, um, called Desdemona's Building a Rocket Ship. And, yeah, the there's a part of Seven Sisters. She is a distant sister. Yeah. And so, I really, that has always, from the first time I ever heard that song, I was like, oh, that's me. You know, I was not old then. And so I think I was 15 the first time I ever saw him in concert.
No.
So, but it's funny because I would have been Desdemona in a different life with a astrophysics degree. But anyway, in engineering.
Hmm.
So, are you familiar with, let me go and find it, Tunguska event? It's in Russia. It was actually in Siberia, and it's 117 years ago.
Okay.
You ever heard of it?
That it rings a bell, but that's it. I don't know why.
Well, they don't know if it was a comet. Let me open this and I'll look, because this is actually a report out of Ohio State.
Okay.
Um, the 1908 Tunguska event and the threats of tomorrow. And it says fear of blah, blah, blah. I always wished I could read and speak at the same time. But fear of cataclysm often numbs. It renders the trembling, disoriented, and inert, unable to imagine how to act. Sometimes the universe acts so powerfully that no human response could counter it. And it says that no disaster scenario more challenges human hopes to overcome nature's forces than the sudden and unpredicted strike of a giant asteroid. So, 65 million years ago, an enormous rock wiped out the dinosaurs. If a dino apocalypse can happen, so too can a Homo apocalypse. And the minuscule possibility becomes all the more unnerving because increasingly scientists know how much they don't know. Isn't that the truth? So,
Hmm.
and really and truly, that's why we have monitoring of near Earth objects. That's why our planet went up into a planetary defense protocol with this asteroid, ostensibly, that's moving through, the comet that's moving through. And the minuscule possibility becomes all the more unnerving because increasingly scientists know how much they don't know. Where have I heard that before? So now, in their efforts to monitor so-called near-Earth objects, they produced an impressive tally of the number, size, and trajectory of asteroids in our solar system. And now, we have just so much happening in our skies right this minute.
Mm-hmm.
But on June 30th, 1908, a massive, mysterious explosion of a cosmic body shook the skies of Tunguska in Siberia on a date that would come to be known as International Asteroid Day. So this it says a massive explosion occurred near the stony Tunguska River that morning. The blast punched a hole equal to thousands of fat men and little boys, the weapons that the U.S. used on Nagasaki and Hiroshima.
Mm.
It scorched, it doesn't say the actual area size, but it scorched and flattened forest in a radial pattern over a territory surpassing the girth of the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. Luminous clouds throughout much of Eurasia and beyond brightened night surrounding the event. So, and their primary researcher just initially saw it for the first time in 1927. And so that's what, almost 20 years to the day after. And his quote is, "I still cannot sort out my chaotic impression of this excursion. From our observation point, no sign of forest can be seen, for everything has been devastated and burned, and around the edge of this dead area, young 20-year-old forest growth has moved forward furiously, seeking sunshine and life. One has an uncanny feeling when one sees thick, giant trees snapped across like twigs and their tops hurled meters away to the south. This belt of growth surrounds the burnt area, and beyond it is the taiga, the endless, mighty taiga, for which terrestrial fires and winds hold no terrors." So that would be the river. Mm-hmm. But, that's what people were trying to avoid. And, I would like, if you could, Joey, if you could just go ahead and tell me what you're looking for as far as my interest. Do I think that we were possibly facing that again? Do I think that we will face that again? I think it's very presumptuous of us. Hey, Sue. I think it's actually very presumptuous of us to think that that won't happen again. And there's an awful lot that's moving in our skies. We have gravitational pull. And I think that if something gets too close, we're going to see that again. So Tom says he'll never listen to Desdemona's building a rocket ship the same way again. So, and Sue, I'm so glad that you are here. Thank you for being here. But I think that that's absolutely a possibility. I think it's not just a possibility. I think it's a probability. If you look at, we have holes in our planet, where things have struck. We have lakes, and it happens.
Craters.
Yeah.
Craters.
Crater Lake is a thing. Then you've got the crater out on the other side of Winslow, Arizona, which actually blew my mind when I saw it. And there's a theory that the asteroid was blown up in midair, almost shot down by something from the Earth. They're saying it's possibly like an ancient defense system. But it wasn't that long ago. It was only in 1908. And that's always a possibility. Mm-hmm. We have strange sphere-shaped domes on the ground. So almost like an ancient, Joey, you're interesting. I did not know that. He said, and investigators in the 1800s were finding strange spear-shaped domes, 1900s, um, on the ground, so almost like an ancient technology. I was unaware of that. That's
Well,
pretty
pyramid,
interesting.
look at the pyramids. They're all
Well,
over.
true enough. Oh, he saw it on an episode of Ancient Aliens. Cheater, cheater. I'm just kidding. But I don't miss many of those because David doesn't miss many of those. So unless it's on when if I'm on the air, I don't see them. But
Hmm.
I just think that there's so much. There's so much. We have got stuff. Then you've got um. Oh, Sue, I didn't know that. I was reading it as a meteoric strike, asteroid strike. My bad. I thought we were still in Russia, in Siberia. Meteoric airborne event, rather than a direct asteroid strike, is a leading hypothesis for the destruction of the ancient city of. Are you going to make me put on my glasses, Sue? Tal el Haman, which some suggest is a biblical city of Sodom,
Mm.
which did get destroyed.
Hmm.
So that makes sense. Now, Suadon here is somebody that I haven't seen in a while, and I'm so glad that he's coming back into my chats because I love him. He's such a good thinker. He's such a nice person, and he brings great ideas. Joey, you're great at this too. Thank you. And Tom always is. Tom is my spirit animal. We have a lot in common. So I hope that's okay, Tom. But we do. We have a lot of similarities in the way we think. It's fun. But I I find it, we have had so many water bottle. We have had so many things happen to our
Hmm.
planet.
Oh
And
yeah.
to date, none of them has been survivable.
Right.
So, you know, the full submersion thing probably was not good if you weren't in the ark. But even with cataclysmic events, cataclysmic strikes, you know, nature finds a way.
Hmm.
And do I want to feel like my children and grandchildren are in danger? And you know,
Right.
I'm old. I don't want to kick it, but if it were to happen to me, would I be as upset? Um, I would be, but I wouldn't feel as bad as if something were to happen to children and grandchildren or even greats down the road.
Right.
And, you know, the likelihood is that will.
Like I said, anything is possible anymore, and
Yeah.
you just got to take a step back and watch and see what's going on because
Well,
it's pretty amazing if you step back and look and read and search and see what's happening. But you have to be careful because you can't live your life in fear constantly.
no.
And there's a lot of people that do, and that's sad. I mean, they get scared and, look at this and look what they're saying and look what's happening and see there's aliens coming down. They're going to, this and that.
Eat
And,
me. Yeah.
you know,
I love the ones that are going to eat you, right?
I mean,
But
they'd have a they'd have a feast on me. Good Lord. I could,
well, it's really, to me, it's tragic that these events have occurred, but I don't think it's unexpected because we are in a just our solar system.
hmm.
We have stuff all the time, and I've been talking about this, three eye axis. It's we have been physically in space since the 50s. We have been physically able to be in space that long.
Mm-hmm.
We have been monitoring space for longer than that. We
Yep.
have had, you know, Galileo. I mean, we're talking, we've been watching space forever. It mesmerizes us as a species. It's something that, you know, it affects our whimsy, our fear, our excitement, our awe. And, you know, never, I think, has it been more on display than in the past couple of months that we don't know jack squat about what's out there.
Nope.
We have been monitoring space forever. Since 2017, after millennia of not seeing anything, since 2017, we have had 3
Mm-hmm.
interstellar objects after never seeing them come through here before.
That we know of.
Our well, I'm serious. I mean, this is since 2017,
Mm-hmm.
8 years. That right? That's right.
Mm-hmm.
8 years. And, you know, all of a sudden they're coming through like a subway stop.
Mm-hmm.
And why? You know, why? Somebody asked me, who was that I was talking to? Phyllis. Was like, well, you know, probably they're just, you know, they're just passing through. Maybe it's the Anunnaki that, you know, just patrol, just not regularly in their mind, might not be regularly in our mind, you know.
Right. Right.
But we've had the capability to pick these out of what's coming around us. We actually implemented our planetary protection plan with this one.
Mm-hmm.
To my knowledge, we haven't done that
Mm-hmm. That we know of.
that we know of.
That's why I question everything, because
Yep.
it's like, okay, what haven't you told us? Because
Hmm.
everything was such a secret for what, since the 40s?
Easily.
What haven't you told us? You
Hmm.
the out of the blue, these, since 2017 we're seeing this. Come on.
Yeah.
What haven't you told us?
Yeah.
What have you kept under wraps now? You know, what has traveled through here that you guys didn't care to tell us about because you didn't want to freak us out because of the War of the Worlds? Look what
Yeah.
happened there.
I'm telling you, that was the test.
Mm-hmm.
And you've
And
heard me say that. We have
mm-hmm.
talked about that.
Yeah.
We flunked.
And that's
We
why
failed.
I think other things have come through, but they
Yes.
won't tell us.
Yes.
They're just now, 2017, they think that we've been exposed to it enough that we won't freak out like we did back then.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, okay, don't sit there and blow smoke. Come on, what
Yeah.
else come through here that you didn't care to tell us about? You
Because
know?
obviously we survived it. Or did we? Are we in an alternate dimension? I mean, there's so many ways that you can go with this stuff
Oh
if you
yeah,
really want to.
oh yeah.
But,
You can
you
go
know,
down a big rabbit hole.
I love rabbit holes.
Yeah.
So, and I love getting stuck and wandering around in them for a little while. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's just a good time. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's a good time.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, it just is so astounding to me that we can't be trusted. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry. They made War of the Worlds, and untenable, unsurvivable scenario, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that's why people reacted the way they did. And Orson Welles is was one of the best storytellers in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and he reported it. He did apparently a freaking A job on that.
Mm-hmm. And,
Because I'm sorry, I would not have run and jumped out of a window.
oh no. But
But
they had to see what our reaction would be if something, because we both know it's been documented that our government has had interaction with aliens.
yes,
I mean, they've got it documented. But will they deny it? Hell yeah. They're never going to say, yeah, they were out here on the lawn and we had a chat with them and we came
they
to
had
a.
them all over the White House. They had craft around the White House,
Mm-hmm. But they
and
always denied it, saying, no, it wasn't. Yeah, it
they
wasn't.
didn't deny it. They couldn't deny it. It was
Well,
documented.
they might
It's
have.
like the LA thing,
Well,
Battle of LA.
they just say, I was just, this or that. You
Thank you,
really
Joey.
see it, so like I said, what else has come through here?
Yeah, and
Because
Joey put the date. It was 1952. Joey put the date for me in there.
okay.
So it was, to me, that was just the. I didn't believe that was real, the White House thing,
Oh,
because I've, for so long, you hear people, well, what do they have to do? Land on the White House lawn?
they
Well,
have.
no, they just had to bust the credenzas, right? I mean, not the credenzas, the walkarounds.
Mm-hmm.
My brain just lost it. But yeah, I'm sitting there and I'm looking at that, Joey, there's imagery of that. There vid Yeah, the Battle of LA. There's imagery of that. It was on the cover of the Los Angeles Times
Mm-hmm.
and or whatever. I think it was the Times at that point. But, you know, Joey said that with cell phones and cameras, there'd be no hiding it today. There would be, because you know what? Everybody's cell phone is ostensibly you can just do whatever with a cell phone. I have not mastered that, but
Mm-hmm.
it's just tragic when anything that you put up is considered AI.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so freaking tired of AI already,
Oh yeah.
because you can't trust anything that you see.
Mm-mm.
And
Not
that's
any.
the whole purpose for AI.
Mm-hmm.
That is the whole purpose for
And
AI,
they
because,
they can make it to way however they want you to see it.
yeah, and you will never convince me that it's not simply designed to manipulate the masses.
Mm-hmm.
And or some, I mean, because you and I use it for research,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, it's just
And you have to question it. I mean, I don't take anything at face value like I used to. I,
mm-mm.
I question everything.
If
It's
I didn't make it, I'm a photographer,
mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I've done is I may adjust the lighting a little bit, but I don't manipulate my photos other than that.
Mm-hmm.
And, back in the day when I was showing in galleries, I sold the fire out of those things, had my own showings, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But the work that I was doing, I've seen well, not 5-year-olds, 12-year-olds manipulate to make almost as beautiful as the work I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And in some instances, it's much richer in color and stuff like that. So why
Mm-hmm.
should I bother?
Mm-hmm.
I'll still shoot somebody's engagement pictures if they're on the beach and they see me walking with a camera, or, I've
Mm-hmm.
shot beach weddings and stuff like that. But, you know, um, my pictures are for me now,
Yep.
because I don't want people to accuse me of it not being legitimate original work.
Mm-hmm.
Because some of them are really good, so that I would probably catch that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I did tell David that I was thinking about getting that Nikon back out. So just have to find a new gallery. But you know, there's so much, and it's so disappointing
Yeah.
because where is going to be the originality?
Mm-hmm.
Where is going to be the drawing your own, the next Da Vinci
Mm-hmm.
is going to be done by,
Yeah.
somebody's going to just use AI to create an image.
Yep.
Yeah, they will.
Mm-hmm. And that's sad.
And it is, because there's nothing like creating your own thing
Mm-hmm.
and seeing somebody appreciate it
Mm-hmm.
and enough to pay for it and take it home with them.
Mm-hmm.
That is the best feeling in the world, when somebody loves something that you made enough to
Buy it.
give up their treasure
Mm-hmm.
to take it home with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And um, Joey also said, also now with credible people coming forward, like Air Force pilots, retired government, saying this stuff is real and people still don't want to believe. I have heard Brian Graves lecture. I have sat down and talked with him. I think it does too, Sue. But and Sue said original handcrafted, yeah, keeps its value, but it does, but that's a different kind of creation. But I still think that the robots that they're building now could do a Da Vinci painting.
Oh yeah.
I think that
Exactly.
creating stuff like that is going to become obsolete, which is tragic.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. But you know, I just think that the whole time, one of the reasons I was out fighting the light with my Dobsonian telescope was because I wanted to be able to see for myself. I knew where it was supposed to be. I knew where I wanted to look. And I was like, ah, it was a full moon. It was everything happening. And I had so much light in my telescope, I could not see what
Mm-hmm.
I was looking for. I was great with the little, because it's got a little targeting scope on the top of it to help you
Mm-hmm.
with location. I could see it fine with that. So I'm going to go buy a kid's telescope at Walmart and put it out on my deck and use it
Use
for the
that.
same magnification, but
Yeah.
not really a kid's. But you know, I want to see it for myself because I don't necessarily trust that there's really something there,
Mm-hmm.
which is
Well,
sad.
you should never take any. And I hate being like that, but you and I both know that if you take everything at face value, you get misled.
Yeah, which is
And I
tragic.
yeah, and I don't
I think
like.
it's tragic. I
Mm-hmm.
like I mean, my dad used to tell me that I was way too old to be that damn naive, right?
Right.
Because I like to take, I want to be able to take people at face value. I want to be able to, you know, trust
Yeah.
and have high expectations and have them met, right? I,
Mm-hmm.
I want to, and I'm still a lot less cynical than you are, and Rick. You and Rick have that covered for me.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to people sense, I've got both of you beat. So, we all have our own strengths.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Rick's pretty good on people sense too, but sometimes he judges when he shouldn't.
Yeah.
But, there you go. But,
But with my background and my sign, my Taurus sign, it takes a lot of study before I trust somebody.
yeah.
Study, because I don't
But,
trust at face value anymore. There's been
yeah.
too many times, too many
Yeah.
burns. So
I will give you a chance. I will not preface this. I will give people a chance as long as there's not something that's going to be harmful to me possible with that.
Mm-hmm.
If there is something that can create turmoil for me or mine, you don't get many opportunities to. And I'm an empath, so I can pretty much tell if you're lying.
Yeah.
And so that happens.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to tell Sue, he's like, glasses again. I should just leave these on. But he said a 6-inch Dobsonian might be just on the edge of what you need to see 3i Atlas. A 10-inch is much more expensive. I have like that. That's how big the end of my telescope is. Did you say that's 6 or 10?
I would
6,
say that's
right?
6. That's more like
Yeah.
6. Yeah.
That's what I have. And so now I'm going to go out there and have to
You
measure
need to
my
you
telescope.
need to be here. Well, no, you don't, because it's all cloudy. You can't see anything. But
And
if
it's
you
still,
want dark, and if you want dark, it's dark out here.
yeah. Well, I do not have dark here, but I can get with my telescope, I can get past the light.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that works. But it's just like,
Yeah.
So he said 8-inch. That was an 8-inch.
Okay.
And I've got my manual in the file cabinet behind me, but I'm not going to get it out right now.
But
So
you got to remember how we were taught how to figure out inches.
that's true. Considering we have men in the chat, we can't go there.
No.
But now I'm blushing. You're so bad.
I know it. I'm sorry.
I don't know why I hang out with you. So, but well, if that was the case, it would be, Anyway, I am absolutely so excited with the possibility of being able to see this thing. I think it's going to be, I think it's going to be neat. I think it's going to be probably,
Mm-hmm.
kind of a letdown because I've got it built up so much in my head.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, how often am I going to get to see an interstellar object?
That's true.
Which, by the way, is my favorite movie. I'm just saying. All right. But no, really, that is the movie that explained so much to me. That's how I understood string theory. In fact, I was sitting have you seen it?
No.
Matthew McConaughey's Interstellar. Girl, when we get together again, we are watching that movie together.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right.
No matter whose house that's at, we're watching that. So, but when I was watching it, I thought, okay. And so this was in a theater, mind you.
Okay.
So I'm sitting there and, it comes, nearing the end and I looked at it and I was just like, oh dear God. Oh my God. And so I'm sitting there and I was like, that's string theory. And I was like, oh no. But that's how I actually grasped completely string theory. I've been trying and I've been studying it and researching and reading, and it seemed moderately correct. But when I actually had a visual on that, I let the world know. So it was bad. But let's see, we've got 2 comments, and Joey said, did they determine yet if 3i Atlas was an extraterrestrial object? It is They don't think it's an extraterrestrial. They do think it's an interstellar, but it is ostensibly not a craft. According to the NASA experts today, and the NASA experts today were Amit Kastria, who is NASA's associate administrator, and Nicola Fox, an associate administrator of NASA's Science Mission Directorate, who is also due to discuss Three Eye Atlas at the same November 19th briefing in Greenbelt, Maryland. Tom Statler, a NASA scientist who shared enthusiasm about the comet's potential origin from an older star system, viewing it as a window into the deep past. And those representatives have been actively communicating information about Three Eye Atlas to the public, lawmakers like Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna, who has been very pushy, I would have been too, and the press utilizing various platforms, including official NASA announcements, news briefings, and social media. They did show new images, but they really weren't new images. I'd seen most of them before. And, this says for the latest updates and scientific information, you can visit the NASA Science website dedicated to the comet. I was not impressed with that press conference, to be quite frank. I felt like there was a lot of wool that had been gathered to be put over people's eyes. And I felt like the truth is out there, but it's not politically correct. And I feel like Lori and I have talked about this before, and she brought it up, but I do feel like War of the Worlds was a trial run and humanity failed it. And I don't know what they're going to do if something actually does come here. But I think there's going to come a time that something shows up that we don't have the capacity to stop.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be an interesting day. Yeah. I don't know if it's going to be in my lifetime. I feel like it is, but I'm old. So,
yeah, me too.
And Sue
but I also hear the BS meter's going off with NASA to me.
Yeah. Well, it does a lot.
Meter, it's just like, come on, we're not in the 50s anymore, Bubba. We can reason things out. Yeah. So that's why I'm thinking, oh, come on. Really? You're trying to say that this isn't something that can be manipulated and is driving itself all over the place, just hazardly? Come on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sorry. I do understand. I did the whole detailed thing about, the comet and the sun heating it up and creating the steam, which does the burst, which does do a thrust propulsion kind of thing for a little bit. And I know that. I understand that. But it's doing things besides that. And there were pockets on the side of pockets of thrust coming out the side, and that was different from the steam and dust that was being blown out. So I just think it's interesting. And Joey said maybe NASA is withholding information to avoid panic. I think that's definitely something. And it may be to be, avoiding panic in their organization too, because if they come out and say that this is intelligent,
Mm-hmm.
what's going to happen next?
Mm-hmm.
You know, if they have television where they're coming from and they're getting our old signals at the slow motion rate, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then they're probably still on the cowboy and Indian movies. And those did not put us in a good light. So
No kidding.
that's, you know, our history with that is not good.
Mm-mm.
I wouldn't want to approach a civilization like us in that circumstance.
Mm-hmm.
So I really think probably if they've been watching any of our reporting of late, they probably lock the doors as they go by. So
Mm-hmm.
there's that too. So, but I do think the panic would be their first concern. You know,
Mm-hmm.
nothing that Abby Loeb has said was terrifying. You know, even if it's another being,
Mm-hmm.
you know, another category, it's not horrible. None of the, I mean, he has not stated that there's anything to be afraid of. But I just think, you know, I just think that I think it's a interesting take on if this really is, you know, alien, which, you know, even NPR said it doesn't need to be alien to deserve a closer look.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and that was in the interview with Sean Duffy. So who would have thought that the transportation secretary was over NASA? I think that's fun.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it's let me open this because whoa, that flew right by. NASA assets that are now this was something I found interesting. I did not know what all they were using, but and one of them freaked you out too. But NASA assets gathering observations include Hubble, Webb, TESS, Swift, Sphere X, Perseverance, the Mars rover, the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, MAVEN, the Mars atmosphere and volatile evolution, the Europa Clipper, Lucy, Psyche, Parker, Solar Probe, Punch, and ESA, NASA's SOHO. So there's a lot of eyes in the sky that are on this.
Mm-hmm.
And the image that they used today was pretty disappointing because they did not have a clear good shot,
Mm-hmm.
but it's the best that they had. And basically it's a round ball that's in a round cone with, you know, the light tailing off behind it.
Because that's the image they want you to think that it is.
That's not the image a lot of us have been seeing
I know, but that's the.
from private viewers.
Mm-hmm.
And some of what I've seen is so obviously AI generated.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like it's a Battlestar Galactica era, long cigar shaped,
Mm-hmm.
you know, something with lumpiness all over it.
Mm-hmm.
Always a possibility, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But again, AI.
Yeah.
What can you trust? What can you
What
not?
can yeah, what can you trust that they post? Just like the one I saw, I don't know if it was AI, but they said they were showing images from Mars of this three eye atlas or whatever it's called.
Right.
It was a ship. It was showing a ship. But I'm thinking, okay, now everything else that we've been seeing doesn't, you know, is this AI generated? I mean, is somebody trying to manipulate our thoughts of what this thing is? You know,
Yes.
it's all about control and manipulation. And I'm thinking, you know, where's the truth in all of this? You know,
Yeah.
where is this at? And who's trying to cover up what? Why? Why are you
Yeah.
trying? Why can't you just put it out there? Are you that either freaked out about it, or you really have no clue of what you're looking at?
I think it's the latter.
Mm-hmm.
And Sue said it looks like it's breaking up. And, Sue, it was supposed to have already done so. It should have done that as it was when it was closer to the sun and it was really getting the tail building up. But something that was interesting, I think it was Saturday or Sunday. It's probably Monday when I was reading this, but it had, thrust coming over the top of it. Like it was not where it was supposed to be. And so it's really, it's really interesting. Yeah, I've got the pictures, Sue, but that that is just that's not the I don't think that's breaking up. There's still a good core there. And it is losing some of the stuff, but in fact they said today that it had not broken up and they expected it to. So I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, like I said, I thought that when it was getting the tail, that was supposed to be prior to it breaking up. It's not going to break up much. It is too large, but I think it's so cool.
Mm-hmm. Oh
And I
yeah.
really wish they would show us the actual imagery.
Mm-hmm. Because with the eyes in the sky that they've got to have a heck of a picture, and they just either are afraid to show it, or there's more in there that they don't want released.
Well, I think, the one that you saw that was the elongated with the carving looking stuff, that was a Japanese photo.
Mm-hmm.
And I might not trust China's imagery.
Mm-hmm.
How can you not trust Japan's? They're the masters of lenscraft. They are brilliant
Mm-hmm.
and they're pretty straight up. Granted
What?
they probably still have a grudge against us, but not against the rest of the world.
Yeah.
So, and you know, I might have a grudge against us if I was them, you know.
Yeah.
But if they hadn't,
Yeah.
been so badass,
Yeah.
they were badass.
Yeah.
But you know, it's really so bizarre. And it's also so bizarre because after that press conference, I'm not kidding. I was on one of the AI Atlas, um, 3 iAtlas sites,
Mm-hmm.
and the vitriolic attacks on, you know, Avi Loeb were stupid.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, why are you mad?
Yeah.
Well, he said that it was probably, you know, a craft. Well, nobody said it wasn't.
Yeah.
Nobody knows if it is or not.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, seriously, is it behaving like a comet now? Ostensibly.
Mm-hmm.
Was it behaving like a comet 4
Before?
days ago?
No.
Nobody thought it was behaving like a comet 4 days ago.
No.
That's why they put up the defense,
Mm-hmm.
the planetary defense. And, you know, I just think that why are you mad? Does somebody have because somebody had a differing opinion?
Yeah.
So obviously
You have to
that
attack. It doesn't.
Obviously, that astounding education and work history
Yeah.
has, nothing to do with, you know, making good decisions or being a good source.
Mm-hmm.
But his primary research interests are first stars and galaxies,
Mm-hmm.
black holes, and extraterrestrial life.
Mm-hmm. So he's no dumbbell.
Oh,
So
please. He is so far from being a dumbbell. He has
mhm.
been awarded so many things. He is internationally and globally respected and appreciated.
Mm-hmm. Like I
He's
said, if it differs from what they want the narrative to read, they will attack him. I mean, that's just how things go nowadays. If you don't follow their narrative, whoever is in charge, then you are the bad person and you need to be shut up.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just step back and look. I mean, they're doing that in everything, under every circumstance. And I mean, you're talking to an educated man that knows more about space than probably most of the rest of the NASA scientists know. And they're the ones who's having a fit.
Well, Galileo is he created that.
Mm-hmm.
And the goal of it is to bring the search for extraterrestrial technological signatures of extraterrestrial technological civilizations
Mm-hmm.
from accidental or anecdotal observations and legends to the mainstream of transparent, validated, and systematic scientific research. The project is complementary to traditional SETI and that it searches for physical objects and not electromagnetic signals
Mm-hmm.
associated with extraterrestrial technological equipment. And I'm going to tell you that Seth Shostak is somebody that I think the world of. He is the man who is over SETI.
Mm.
He is, he's very, he's very funny. He's, he's dry, right? And so when he and I met, it was at my first Alien Con. No,
Mm.
second one at Pasadena. We were in Pasadena. And so I was talking to him. I was like, well, how long have you been over SETI? Well, since God was a child. And he's like, I said, have you ever seen anything? And he was like, no, not a thing. Never gotten any communication, never gotten any indicator. I said, well, I've run SETI through my computer via the internet. So it used to be everything interlinked, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it was really funny. I said, you've never seen anything to give you pause? He didn't say that. He's like, yeah, there's never been anything.
Mm.
And I was like, I still like you, Seth. So, and I like him so much. He's very, very dry and very, you know, kind of take no prisoners, but also suffer no fools. He would
Mm-hmm.
not suffer fools gladly. And so I like that in a person.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people find that offsetting. I do not. I like that in a person. And so a couple of years later, I was at contact in the desert. And so and Richard Dillon's wife, Tracy, was like, is this your first time? And I was like, it is. And she was like, oh, you're so lucky. You get to wear closed-toed shoes. Open-toed shoes and no snakes and, no scorpions. And I'm like, where the hell were you before? We were in Joshua Tree at the
Oh.
little place in Joshua Tree. And I was like, I'm so glad that I was not there because the first time I saw a snake would have been my last time to go to the desert. So but yeah, she was like, this is heaven. I was like, I'll buy that. I believe you're right. But it's so fun because there's so much camaraderie when you go to these events. People are just so nice.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really, I've been so blessed to be able to do these things. But you know, I saw Seth again. We were actually seated together for dinner. He and his wife and I were all part of the same table. And I said, still nothing. And he was like, nope, nothing. And I was like, well, damn, that's disappointing. But I said, would you come on if I were to call you for an interview? He said, I would come talk to you. I was like, well, then I'm going to do that because I would like to have his input on
Mm-hmm.
the things happening now, because it will be the party line, but only because that's what he would really believe.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to know, because this thing is putting out radio signals.
Mm-hmm.
It is. It is transmitting in some shape, form, or fashion. Okay. So boy, my hands look big when I do that. Ooh, big hands. But it's so funny because gotcha. But it's just, I would love to use theirs too, Joey. But it just blows my mind that this man is trying to tell me that over 30, 40 years there's been nothing. Don't
Really?
buy it.
No.
Don't buy it.
Mm-mm.
And I like him. I don't care if that's his truth. I'm okay with that. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't see that as being feasible. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Because even if you're just getting a signal, um, just a random signal, because there is stuff, there is sound in space.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, there has to be something.
Mm-hmm. It's not
So,
just a vacuum. It's not just a giant vacuum. There's noise.
contrary to belief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's noise. There's signal. There's something.
Well,
And
right now there's a rock ostensibly that's putting out radio signal.
mm-hmm. So it's like
So,
you can keep blowing smoke, but the longer it goes, the more educated we are. We're not cavemen anymore. We do comprehend and understand stuff.
although I do still like a good steak.
True. That's true. Me too.
I know.
But yeah, I mean, one of these days somebody will actually be honest and be forthright so we don't have to keep digging. But
Yeah.
um, I think we're getting a little closer than we used to be. But,
Well,
since.
that's because technology is evolving so that the average bear
Hmm.
can afford to look
Yeah.
or listen.
But like I
You
said,
know,
2017 is the first interstellar or whatever you want to call it. Oh,
mhm.
come on.
Yeah.
Come on. Quit pulling my leg.
Yeah.
There's been more out there you just didn't want to tell us.
Yeah.
And, until they're ready to release it, just like those Tic Tac videos that finally came out showing,
Hello.
you know,
Yes.
and they always denied it. I mean, how many years, you know, they denied
Well,
anything like that. And then you see these pilots going, we don't know what the hell this is.
and that was not, I mean, it happened in the Atlantic with the Roosevelt group.
Mm-hmm.
And pilots see things, when they're practicing up around the Potomac.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's concern. And that's why the pilots were like, this has to be addressed because they're cloaked, but you can still kind of see them, and
Mm-hmm.
there's going to be a catastrophic incident when, you know, when
If
we
there's a
when
collision,
we hit one,
it's going to
there's going to
hit.
be a collision.
Mm-hmm.
And, and I mean, that was the primary concern of the Navy pilots bringing that forward. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't blame them. I absolutely do
Mm-mm.
not blame them. And,
Mm-mm.
the fact that it's a primarily safety concern is why it was allowed to be discussed. And the fact that, the radar operator was like, there's a fleet. He saw them
Mm.
on the new Nimitz
System. Mm-hmm.
system. You
Mm-hmm.
know, he could see them with that radar.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, well, and it
Mm-hmm.
was a fleet. It wasn't a few.
No, that was a
And
bunch. So,
I just,
like, I think, you know,
they're
they're,
coming from somewhere.
yeah, come on.
Yeah.
I understand you, your excuses, you're protecting us, but, at some point in time, we can catch on or we can figure things out and we do understand things. So, the smoke screen has got to go away one of these days, no matter what, because
Yeah.
you've let too much out. Too much has been let out of the bag.
Well,
You know,
it's like if you have a fleet of those,
yeah.
where do they come from?
Mm-hmm.
Where did this fleet, where is this fleet space?
Mm-hmm.
And that's something I've never heard addressed. And
Nope.
I talk to people about that all the time, and
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard that addressed.
Nope.
So, you know, there would have to be something, a Death Star out there behind Mars somewhere or something. I mean,
Yeah.
who knows? But we
Yeah.
don't know because nobody talks about it.
No. If
But
they're not gonna tell you because
and they're
they're
still acting like it was only the two of them.
yeah. It's like
And actually, have they owned up to there being two?
well, like, what was it? The stuff that's coming up out of the water. They've got
Hello.
they've got stuff they've documented a lot of that coming up out of the water and going under the water.
Well, there's reports of submariners. You
Mm-hmm.
know, they'll they call them fast movers when they're underwater, and it goes by them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what if somebody makes that left turn at Albuquerque, and there you go.
Boom. Yeah. Have
Yeah,
a
and those are nuclear submarines.
yeah. I mean, there could be a collision and a really bad collision underwater. I mean, there's so much out there that they keep trying to cover up. Just like the hearings when they were saying about, there was biologicals
Yeah,
and we're human. No,
nobody's touched that since then.
no, and it's like, okay, you open up the curtain and then you shut it. It's like
Although Nancy Mace's face was priceless.
what?
Because somebody actually said it
Yeah, and that's
on
what.
record,
Yeah,
on
and
record,
that.
and nothing's
Yeah,
happened.
yeah, and nothing's gone on. It's like, okay, we were open and honest, but that's all you need to know. And it's like, no, there's more to this than just that.
Yeah.
What aren't you saying?
What
It,
kind of biologicals? Did they match the ones that were at Roswell? Are they just that tall, or were they, bigger?
yeah,
Or,
yeah,
are they rays, or are they,
yeah,
reptilian? Are they Anunnaki? Are they this? Are they that?
hmm
Let's see one.
yeah, and
Let's see
it's
an
like,
image of one.
yeah, and they just stopped. They confirmed yes, and that was it. They
Yeah.
confirmed it, but they won't go into detail. And it's like, why? Why can't you
Yeah.
go? You've already dropped the bomb.
Yeah.
Don't we know more?
That's an excellent point. Why didn't they follow through?
Yeah. And what do you, what else are you covering up? You're supposed to be letting us know what's happening, and you're only spoon feeding us what you want us to know.
Yep.
To get into real detail, you're not being cooperative.
Yep.
You're not being open about it. I mean, you sit back and you look and you think, oh, come on, you know.
Well, I get really frustrated with them about that. I don't know why my light just went out. It does that sometimes. But you know, oh, I'm going to go blue.
Ooh.
So you know, I get I get almost angry about the lack of transparency. And those hearings, there were people there who have been involved in this research for decades.
Oh, yeah.
Decades. You know, I'm sure Jeremy Corbell has been involved all the way through. And he's actually brilliant, but he and George Knapp have kind of joined forces, so they are locked at the hip
Mm.
and work wise. And I find that to be a very interesting combination because they're both very intense men.
Mm-hmm.
And Jeremy is the creative side of that.
Mm-hmm.
George is just very, I guess he's creative too, but he's a newsman.
Mm.
And they've been involved in this. George has been involved in this for probably 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
And Jeremy has brought some of the most interesting footage to the public. And there's some that he's shared that makes me go, that's a craft? Really? And this one, the one that really made me ponder was, I think, in Iran.
Mm.
And he calls it the jellyfish.
Mm.
And it's beige, but it could just be the sand or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't always tell what it is. But it's a mass with the little, you know, danglies in appearance.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he caught it on film, or maybe digitally. But anyway, he
Mm-hmm.
caught it. And I've never seen a craft like that, even in imagery,
Mm-hmm.
right? So to me, how can we just say, absolutely not? That's not anything unusual.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty flippin' unusual if it's only the third one in our history of mankind that's come through here.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not showing imagery. They said that as it leaves our solar system and moves on to the next, that we'll be able to have better imagery because there's a better camera out that far. The one that just left our solar system and
Mm-hmm.
is moving out, well, it's going to be where this will come by it, ostensibly.
Oh,
So
okay.
we'll have better imagery then after it's gone all the way through our solar system, you know, unchallenged.
Interesting.
Right?
Okay.
They better hope it keeps going.
Yeah.
So that we can get that. But I just think it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I just think that I think it's interesting
Oh, yeah.
because the fact that we're going to have to wait until it completely traverses our solar system to be able to get a clear image of it.
I find it a bit bizarre. I'm sorry, but to me
Well,
that's
considering that we have all that equipment on and around Mars,
mm-hmm,
and we have, so much satellite stuff
mm-hmm.
that should be picking something up.
They should be able to. I mean,
Come on.
come on,
I
they should
mean,
be able to
you
see
know,
that.
I've got camera lenses that do a great job on um, astral objects.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Come on. I said the way I look at it is the imagery that you can get from space. You'd be able to see the hair on somebody's chin. It's
yeah,
that exact.
yeah.
So don't don't sit there and tell me you can't get a good shot of this thing. Come on. Give me
Yeah.
a come on.
And we have to wait until it's leaving our solar system before we have a camera that can catch that.
Catch it. Come on.
Yeah.
You know, who are you trying to blow smoke up? It's
Well,
like
I don't wear skirts very often, so it's
I don't
probably not mine.
know either. But like I said, I don't like being like that because I wish I could trust people at face value, but I don't.
I
There's
know.
been so much that has gone on that you can't trust anything, and you can't trust what you see because there's
No.
so much baloney out there
Yeah.
to try to manipulate how you're supposed to, how they want you to see things and how they want you to conceive things. It's like,
Yes.
yeah, I don't know. And then, when you have hearings and you only get partial of what's going
Or
on.
there's no follow through.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It,
we have bodies. Well, what what's their what species are they?
I
What do
mean,
they look like?
yeah.
I mean, because Roswell, the incident that was pre Roswell is called Trinity,
Hmm.
and there were at least three deceased bodies that were taken from that crash site,
Hmm.
and there was one that had survived it for sure,
Hmm.
and that was pre Roswell, and they've never shared anything.
They've never said anything. The only thing that they have shared was there were biologicals, but they weren't human. But
Yeah,
they never said, they never got into specifics. They never said what it was for sure.
yeah,
What what was going, they just said, yes, we have biologicals and they were not human. Well,
yeah.
that leaves us hanging. Like,
You
what's going,
think?
and nobody, it doesn't seem like nobody follows up on it.
Well, I'm sure that they did out of the
The here,
hearings
yeah.
because I'm sure that she adjourned and got them in a room
Well, I would
at
think.
some point. But if we heard that, we should have been able to hear more.
Hmm. We should have been able to hear the detail
Hmm.
exactly was what was found. If there was an autopsy performed, what was found. If there was, you
Yeah.
know, any kind of blood work, if there was blood found, what type was it? If they can identify it. I mean, there's specifics that could.
It's going to turn out to be A negative blood because that's alien lineage.
Yeah.
But I'm just teasing. I don't know. But that's what it would be if it were a human.
Hmm.
So that was running with them.
But like I said, they just spoon feed us. That's it. I mean, they don't give us specific details. All we know is yes, there was biologicals, and yes, they were not human, but
Yeah.
nothing more than that. And that's all it seems like they want us to know.
Yeah.
It's
They didn't really want us to know that
yeah, and
because she was shocked at her reply, at their reply.
mhm. So that's what it's like, same old, same old. Here we go again.
Yeah.
Let's spoon feed him just enough to keep him happy. So because there was people aggravated because they knew that stuff was going on.
Mhm.
So they released a little bit of information just to keep everybody happy, but they were not going to over give us too
Yeah.
much information. So,
Although her face when he said that was a definite lesson in don't ask questions you don't already know the answer to.
mm-hmm,
Or FAFO,
mm-hmm,
because now you got more than you know what to do with.
mm,
you
yeah,
know. So it
seriously,
was a it could go either way with that. Pretty much the same scenario,
true.
same outcome. But we are almost out of time, girlfriend.
Oh, you're kidding. Okay.
No, we've got like 4 minutes left.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So yeah, I want to thank everybody for the questions in chat. And Sue, I'm so glad to see you. I am really glad. I'm so interested in this and I'm so frustrated because, you know, all these people are like, I really was offended and I wanted to do this show because they were attacking somebody who had the audacity to say, this is not behaving as a comet should, and it is putting out radio transmissions of some type. And, you know, that's not going against the science.
Mm-mm.
That's stating that this is occurring,
Mm-hmm.
and you're going to slam somebody with the credentials of Abby Loeb, 24-year-old doctorate,
Mm-hmm.
24-year-old with his doctorate. This is not your average bear.
Yeah.
And you're going to slam him
Yeah.
because he has the audacity to say,
Contra-
hey, wait a minute, guys.
mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
not cool.
No, it
So
is.
I did put in an interview request to him. If we get that, then it will be a lot of fun and I will be in hog heaven. But you don't ask, you don't get, right?
That's
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 how I got to interview Stanton Friedman a couple of times and become a good friend.
mm,
So you
okay.
just ask, and if they can, they usually will. So I'll
Well,
let you know if that's coming.
well,
But
I'll always talk to you.
I know. And see, you were uncomfortable with this topic, and it's been a
Mm-hmm.
good show.
Mm-hmm.
You got
Yeah,
to trust me more.
I know. It's when I'm educated on things, I get a little uncomfortable, but I just go with it.
Well, you have knowledge that you don't always know you have. So you got news blaring in your background all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
That's true.
So for everybody listening, I hope that this has been enlightening and fun for you because I'm I'm such a space nerd. A I love these things. And I think that we're at a really pivotal point in our civilization and world
Mm-hmm.
history. So let's have fun with it. You can't run and scream. You've got to learn. So that being said, we will be back. Thank you, Lori, for being here. And everyone in chat, I loved y'all. Y'all were so much fun and so informative, and you really helped keep things rolling. And we will see you next time. Same cat channel, same cat time. Be blessed. Good night.